navigate the low register well, but you don't get that nakedness and the spotlight of playing principal oboe, so it's easier to let certain things slide, and moving over into that principal chair every once in a while really keeps me in check. As far as using the same reed, I would say for different halves of the concert, and I'm usually playing 2 different reeds when concerts had halves.
Oh, remember those days? The good old days.
2019.
I find that I can sometimes play the same reed for a second oboe part as I can play for the first oboe part. And theoretically, I think I should, because the skill set is really the same. When you're playing second oboe, you have to play every single note on the instrument beautifully at every single volume that you could possibly play. Same skill set if you're playing principal oboe. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, I would just like to make really responsive, easy reeds that still hold up to pitch. And if they fit that bill, then they should be good for a lot of different playing, not just second oboe playing, not just first oboe playing.
You kind of talked about the differences between reed making at sea level and at altitude already, so I don't want to belabor this too much, but I know you helped me out tremendously a few years ago when I was getting ready to go on a tour and perform in high altitudes, and you sent me some really wonderful tips. So if someone is getting ready to travel and play a tour at different altitudes, in regards to cane they should pack, or how would you leave the reeds unfinished if you know you're going from sea level one day and then 4,000 or 7,000 feet a couple days later?
What exactly did I tell you?
I love it.
I hope the advice was good. My advice...
It was good.
I'm glad. Well, my advice is if you're expecting to go someplace else and make all of your reeds there, power to you if you can do that, but I don't like to leave that much up to chance.
I understand.
So I actually do a fair amount of hopping in between altitudes. I have something to play at sea level once or twice a year, and I have family that I like to visit at sea level, so whenever I'm at sea level, even if I'm on vacation, I'm always it's always a reed making vacation.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Just so I have stuff in that.
Storing up for the future. I love that.
Yeah, so I always want to have a full box of sea level reeds that I can really count on. So if I'm going to a different altitude, what I like to do is have a kind of a mixture of options in different stages. I take a few blanks, I take a few reeds that are pretty close but not quite there, and maybe a couple reeds that I have played at that altitude, and I know they're familiar, and I know I can go back to those if I need to. I've learned so much about reed making from trying to make a reed at one altitude for a different altitude. So trying to guess what that translation is going to be. So if I'm making a reed at altitude, and I, have something to play at sea level, making something that's a little bit stiffer and sharper, maybe I don't kind of put the entire back in, and I leave a little bit extra on the heart and the back, because I don't exactly know what it's going to do when I get to sea level. I feel like if I had to, I could get probably 90% of the way there with a reed that I made in Denver and pick it up and play it at sea level. So when you're going from sea level to altitude, to get something that is going to play when you get to your destination, it has to be, again, bringing in this term of rattle. So it has to be much more rattly, but not kind of rattly and flat. More that you've just scraped a little bit more off of the tip and the heart than you would for a finished reed at sea level. So it's rattling more than you would want in a reed. And then when you go up to altitude, all of that gets tamed back, and you get something that's more in the ballpark of what you need.
Nick Tisherman, thanks so much for being our guest on Read Talk. And thanks to all of you for listening. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode.
We'd love to hear from you. Write to us and send us your read-making queries for our guests at readtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Sending good vibes from our read desk to yours, I'm Margaret Marco.
And I'm Courtney Miller.